A company is defined as an organization involved in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. Businesses can be for profit or non-profit. Companies can be classified by ownership or size. So let's start by ownership types: the public sector, private sector, and voluntary sector.
The public sector is known as the state sector. It includes public services and enterprises controlled by the government and funded by taxpayers, such as the military, infrastructure, public education and healthcare, water supply, and telecommunications.
The private sector, known as the citizen sector, as it's owned by private individuals or groups for generating profit rather than being owned or operated by the government. The private sector is the biggest sector in most countries.
The voluntary sector is known as the community sector. It includes non-governmental and non-profit organizations that focus on social services, the environment, education, and unmet needs by a society. So it is essential to the health and well-being of the society.
When it comes to working environment, private and public sectors differ in many ways. For example, in the private sector, you have more job opportunities and promotion potentials. Also, jobs in the private sector are generally higher paying. There are often fewer positions in the public sector and lower pay.
The private sector has less job security and a more competitive atmosphere as it is profit-driven. In the public sector, it can be more difficult to get fired. Therefore, one has better job security.
The public sector generally offers a better work-life balance, as working hours are shorter and fixed. In contrast, you can expect longer working hours in the private sector, which will come at the expense of other parts of your daily life.
One of the most obvious ways in which businesses differ is their size. Businesses can range from small operations in one industry to large operations in many industries around the world. The size of the company you work for can affect your career. There are benefits to working at both small and large companies. Here are some of the major differences you'll notice.
Small companies often focus on niche markets, while larger companies tend to offer more products and services to a wider variety of consumers.
Employees at a small company will usually get to know each other better. They may also find it easier to develop relationships with most or all of the employees at their office. At large companies, staff are more likely to work in teams within departments or even different offices.
When working at a smaller company, you may have more individual responsibility than at larger ones. A small staff means that there are fewer employees responsible for the company's operations, which increases the share of responsibility. At smaller companies, there's potential for more recognition when things go well and more accountability when they don't.
At a large company, you'll most certainly find a more established internal structure with a clear delegation of responsibility and the opportunity to focus intensely on a small number of tasks. In a smaller company, you will be responsible for a more diverse and fluid role. This can be an opportunity for gaining a new experience and professional development.
Larger companies typically have more opportunities for advancement compared to smaller ones, which tend to be more stable as the company's internal structure is not going to change as often.
Large companies can offer their employees more benefits and higher salaries as they generally have the resources to do so. However, it's much more common for employees at small or new companies to own equity, which means their hard work is directly tied to an increase in value.
When it comes to an ideal company size, there's no right answer. It's important to take time to reflect on your personal, professional, and working environment priorities to understand which company size suits you best.